Yesterday, we talked about the sacrifice of Christ, and today, from the second half of Hebrews chapter 9, I'd like to share about the second coming or the return of Christ, which is mentioned in verse 28, the closing verse of chapter 9, which says, "So Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin, but to save those who are eagerly waiting for him." So let's look at each of those phrases really quickly today. Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many. This echoes what we heard earlier in Hebrews chapter 9, what we talked about yesterday, that the sacrifice of Christ is a once for all, which is a repeated theme in Hebrews, as we'll hear tomorrow. It's once, it's been done. It doesn't need to be done again. And again, it's not just for the Jewish people. It's not just for the Hebrews. Remember, this is the letter to the Hebrews. It's for all. It's for all. And then we're told that Christ will appear a second time. That was a question in the first century. Christ was died, Christ was resurrected, Christ ascended into heaven, and there was a clear belief in the early church that Christ was going to come again. And it was a question of when. And as the years went by, and then indeed even decades went by, this aspect of faith was one that people wrestled with. Is Christ coming back or not? Believers are dying. What's going to happen to them? When is Christ going to come? And it was easy for people to start to kind of give up faith or think, well, he's probably not coming back. Well, Hebrews says he is coming a second time. And the second time, he's not coming to deal with sin because he's already dealt with sin. He's already dealt with it once for all time on the cross. God has overcome the power of death in the resurrection. So when he comes the second time, Hebrews is saying, it's not to deal with sin. It's to save those who are eagerly waiting for him. And as we've seen, as we've been moving through Hebrews, one of the concerns that Hebrews is addressing is people basically losing their faith, losing their desire to persevere, losing their enthusiasm, and people are dropping away or thinking about walking away from their faith. And here is again another example of Hebrews saying, Christ is going to return, he's going to save those who are eagerly waiting for him. So that's another encouragement. Don't lose your faith. Hold on. Keep eagerly watching and waiting for Christ's return. And how do we do that best? We do that by living every single day as a devoted follower of Jesus, so that if Jesus were to return today, he would find us embodying his gospel and being about our Heavenly Father's work.